Hey folks, how's it going? This is Seagull here, back with another Sims info/thoughts video. So this one's going to be all about the eco-living stuff pack, as the next voting stage has begun, the objects and clothing vote, which starts today and runs until May 21st. And it's definitely a more intense process than what we've had to do before this point, because the previous two voting rounds, they were on more broad things. Now it's getting down to more specifics, which I think is where it all gets pretty interesting. Let's start off by highlighting a couple of interesting points from the new blog post. So there's a bit of explanation for the direction in general for the objects and clothing, because for objects they wanted to give us something that would be good for building a sunroom or a mudroom, focusing on the types of objects that we would find in that setting. And for clothing, they were drawn to minimalist clothing that's more like the country bohemian style. And how this voting process works is that it's basically divided up into two parts, where we choose up to 28 of our favorite objects, and then in the second part we choose up to 14 of our favorite Create a Sim items. And there is a bit of clarification as to how the results are going to be tallied up as well, because for example, one person may vote for a lot of chairs, and then another may vote for a lot of the shelves and clutter. So they are going to try and make the stuff pack as balanced as possible. So don't worry about, say for example, every Create a Sim item being included in the stuff pack being only shirts and nothing else. They do want to have it so that we can use the pack to build a complete room or dress a sim in a complimentary outfit. Also, I love how they say the survey will take approximately 10 minutes to complete, because I probably spent about half an hour. It's just, I love all of the stuff that's here. Like, I just wish I could have every single item. But speaking of every single item, let's get to those right now. So first I'll go through all the objects we can choose from, and then what objects I chose. So in this picture here, we have mostly clutter, some ceiling lights, as well as some surfaces. I really like all this stuff for sure, especially the bare light bulb, otherwise known as number 18. And I really like the wreath, even though it's usually more associated with the holidays. I kind of like it. It really does add to the country feel. Same goes for number 4 and number 5. And if the gameplay vote ends up going in the direction of laundry, I think all of the surfaces here would fit really well with it. Next we have some more tables, 2 bay windows, and some doors, as well as a curtain. I do think we need more of the 2x2 coffee tables, so I did vote for 29. Unfortunately, I really wanted to vote for 28 too, but I was really having to narrow down my votes by that time. I do like 33, I did vote for that one, but I don't like the blinds on it very much, so maybe, hopefully, we could have the option to have with or without. And I do want to draw attention to the bay windows here because, well, I don't use build mode that much, so I feel kind of bad for not knowing off by heart, but I don't think we have any bay windows in The Sims 4 yet, or if we do, not many of them. So I do think it is, out of all the objects, most important to vote for at least one of these. I would have voted for both of them, but with 30, I was really on the fence about the whole windows within a window thing. I think it's kinda neat, but I don't know if I need it as much as the other things, so I did vote for 31. Let's move on to some more objects. So here we've got a couple of mirrors, some more decorative things, a couple of sinks, and a table lamp and a dresser. So I didn't vote for the table lamp, although I do think we're sorely missing a good variety of table lamps. I'm not really sure what to think of 49, it's just kinda odd. I actually have to look at the voting list to be like, what is that? Because I don't know what the heck it is. And since it doesn't look like we're voting on bedroom furniture, I skipped on the dresser as well. However, I did vote for both of the sinks and both of the potted plants as well, because those are definitely things I think we need more of. We don't have too many sinks, and I always feel like I have very limited choices when it comes to indoor plants, especially ones that aren't super fancy looking. The rubber plant that came with Dine Out is pretty good. I use that quite a bit, but I really would like more choice, and 38 especially would help me out a lot. I was going to vote for one of the mirrors, number 36, but sadly that was another one of my choices that got cut in the whole narrowing down process. Next up, we have some floor shelves and wall shelves. So out of the ones in this picture, I only voted for one of them, and that is number 55. And my reasoning for that is because I really do feel like it is very likely that laundry is going to win the gameplay vote. So 55 would really go with it, especially with the iron on there. I did want to vote for at least one floor shelf, but again, yeah, the whole limited number of choices I could have. Although, in my case, I was having a lot of glitches. Like, I kept getting the survey reset on me whenever I would try to move on to the clothing. I think partly because they had to like change some errors that they had made initially, and then also that I took too long to select my choices. I think there's only 3 more objects I could have voted for, but if one of them could be one of the shelves, then I think I would have chosen 52 or 53. I do think we need more shelves in the game for sure though, so hopefully at least one of these will make it into the final product. Because we can collect so many things in The Sims 4, and there's probably still more collections they're going to add through like future updates or challenges or other packs as well. So yeah, the more shelves the better. I mean, we can store things in those chests we got in a free update, but when you put those in there, they're just stored away. You can't actually see them. So for some Sims, it makes sense to kind of like proudly display them out in the open on shelves. But enough talk about shelves, let's move on to the last part of the objects vote. Here we have a whole bunch of chairs, a couple of ottomans, and a couple of surfaces as well. Although, it's weird to me, I don't know if that was an error that they hadn't fixed the descriptions, but I thought 57 was an end table, but no, it was labeled as miscellaneous wall decor for me. But I did vote for quite a few things in this picture. Because I did vote for 58, because I think we do need more dining tables. And I like 59 and 60, but I don't feel like I would use those as much as 61. And 61 I feel like is more versatile than 59 and 60, so I did vote for that one. And then when it comes to the love seats, I did vote for both of them. I wonder how 63 will turn out if that makes it into the final product, because that one has no legs. I was actually a little bit confused about it at first, but yeah, maybe it will turn out well, but just in case, I also voted for 62. I did the same thing with 65 and 66 too, and 66, I'm sorry, but that reminds me more of a pet bed than a living chair. And no, I do not think this is a hint towards pets at any kind, but yeah, I can totally imagine a dog or a cat just snuggling up in 66. But I did vote for 67 because I do think we really need more end tables. I feel like I have very limited choices on those as well. I don't really use ottomans that often, so I did not vote for 68, and I actually initially thought that was like a side table, and I thought 64 was an end table. But no, that's supposed to be a living chair, but yeah, I wasn't really too into that, so I didn't vote for it. And that's it for the objects, so here's what I voted for in summary. So if I could have voted for like a few more, if it weren't for like those weird glitches, then I think I would have voted for the bay window that has all the windows inside of it, one floor shelf, and one more ceiling light, I guess. Alright, so let's move on to the clothes. It was so weird. Of all the things that could have worked, what ended up enabling me to move on to the clothing process was to just close Chrome and reopen it, and then just start over again. Because I even tried using Safari, and that didn't work, but that did. So weird. But with the clothing portion of the vote, I did feel like, being someone who uses quite a few pieces of custom content clothing, it made choosing certain items easier. Because like with 30, I'm pretty sure I have an item already that looks like that I found on Tumblr somewhere. And 31, I actually feel like we already have that one. Not with those exact stencils on it, but I think we got something like that with Get to Work or Movie Hangout stuff. I think it might have been Movie Hangout stuff, but yeah, that helped narrow down the choices a little bit for sure. It was nice to see so many shoes to choose from too. The first few are actually for children, so I did vote for a couple of those. Also, knowing what custom content I have, as well as having a good idea of what we already have in previous packs, also helped me select from the female bottoms. The only one I chose out of those was number 28. And I actually am not quite sure entirely what that one is. I think it is like one of those t-shirts wrapped around the pants kind of thing. I'd have to see it from the back too to know for sure. But I think that's what it is. And even though we're getting that with Parenthood, I think this one is still going to be different enough. And with these other clothes here, I definitely had to be really choosy. There were some female items that I really liked, but I did have to cut a few of them just because I was like, okay, the men really need some clothing. The men always need more clothing. The females always get lots of stuff with every pack. So I did choose a few of the ones that I felt didn't really have either its custom content or represented in any other pack. 63 I find particularly interesting because I haven't really seen any pants like that in the game yet. I feel like we already have lots of jeans and shorts, so I can do without those. But 63, that's a really cool looking one. I hope that one makes the final cut. I did break my own rule a little bit by voting for number 39 because I think it does look similar to this full body outfit from Bowling Night stuff. But I think they are different enough because in the case of the Bowling Night one, shorts are attached to it, but there's longer shorts attached to this one, and with 39, it's more of a tank top. And overall it does have a more laid-back style compared to the Bowling Night one, and I actually really like that full body outfit from Bowling Night stuff, so to have that in a different style is something that I'm definitely in favor of. And that's it for the clothing, so here's the summary of what I voted for in regards to clothing. I really wish I could have voted for more, but I'm pretty satisfied with what I chose in the end. I'm actually kind of hoping that after this stuff pack comes out, maybe the custom content community can help out a little bit and actually make some of the items that didn't make the cut. That could be a really interesting way of the custom content community and Maxis kinda collaborating, but not exactly on something. Before I end off this video, I do want to mention one interesting thing that SimGuru Graham said on Twitter, and it's that there will be 3 new hairstyles coming in this stuff pack. He will share them in the coming weeks and discuss why they were not a part of the voting process. I do find this pretty interesting, and my theory as to why that is the case is, well, this stuff pack has a pretty narrow focus, so I think there's only so many hairstyles you can really come up with for a country bohemian kind of theme without too many of the hairstyles looking similar to each other, because they came up with so many different objects and so many different Create a Sim items that I think even coming up with like 10 or so would be very, very difficult. I did notice that accessories were also left out of the voting process, and SimGuru Graham did respond to my question about that, saying that it is hard to justify many accessories and stuff packs because they get so few to choose from, and because of that they tend to leave them for the larger packs. And that makes sense to me too. It is hard to come up with accessories for a very narrow theme as well, I feel, and to come up with a lot of accessories and then to vote on them to narrow down would be much more difficult than coming up with lots of new shirts pants and shoes, so yeah, that makes sense. And also with stuff packs, yeah, you get a very limited selection of items, so there's definitely a much bigger need to make each and every item stand out, and accessories are more subtle than entire outfits. And that kind of reasoning is why I think bunk beds were not in kids' room stuff, because as much as I really want bunk beds, I don't think they have as much of a wow factor as the Void Critter Battle Station and the Puppet Theater. There just isn't as much room in a stuff pack to put as many cool things into. And that wraps up another Sims info/thoughts video. So let me know in the comment section below what sort of things you voted for in regards to the objects and clothing for the Eco Living stuff pack. I know I'm not the only one who is having major issues with taking this survey, so don't worry too much if you couldn't do it today. Not all is lost, because you do have until 10 AM Pacific time on May 21st to get your vote in. It was kind of weird how it worked out in the end for me, because I thought it was clearing Chrome's cache and cookies that would fix it, but no, it was closing and reopening it that did the job. And after choosing the clothes, the survey did reset once for me, but when I went back in it, it remembered my object choices, but not the clothes. So after I finished choosing the clothes again, I was given a thank you message, so I knew for sure that my votes went through. In the worst case scenario, I recommend you screenshot or take a picture with your phone of your choices, like what I did, so not only so you could just use them for this video, but also so that you could quickly reselect all of your choices if you're still having issues. But yeah, I will talk to you all later, and have a great day. Thanks for watching!